My next painting, which I started, features these two women playing chess, and I'm kind of thinking about incorporating a frame into the painting. My favorite artist, Ruth Spear, often does this, where the frame is part of the painting itself, and the figures interact with the frame, like their hand extending beyond the frame. So I'm considering trying that out because I think it would look good in this painting, but I'm not entirely sure, so for now I will start it as a classic painting and see if I add the frame later on. I even discussed this type of frame with my teachers, as I've used it in a couple of my sketches before, which I will show you on the screen. They suggested that I could incorporate it in the painting, so I will see if I will do it or not. Also, since there's no fantastic elements in the painting at the moment, I thought about adding something like a water dragon or a snake. I'm not exactly sure what to call it, and this creature would be in the background where there's a small lake or more like a swamp, and since there are no animals, which I often include, I thought its body could be partially emerging from the water. But I'm still not sure. I'm just brainstorming right now. I have got the basic idea and I will see what fits as I go along. Here I've pulled out some ink that I bought ages ago, but I never used it, and since it's a good color that matches the brown background, I thought of using it for shadows, kind of like an underpainting, but I didn't stick with it for long and quickly moved on to painting directly. I don't usually make this kind of base layer because I already have a clear idea in my head, and I have sketched it out on my tablet where I can already see the shadows. Maybe the proper technique would be to do the base layer, but I haven't noticed any major problems when I skip it. I have to say though that this painting came together really quick. Sometimes I manage to finish painting in just a few days, which isn't common, but when I get into a flow and things just work out. And this one was finished in like 4 days, which is really unusual for me. As for my main theme for the finals, we usually have to pick a theme, or at least that's how I understood it when I talked to my teachers. I brought in 2 paintings, both featuring 2 women who looked like 2 sisters or twins, and my teachers suggested that I could make this my theme, twins or sibling. Initially, I didn't want to limit myself to just 2 figures, but I thought I would stick with siblings, maybe twins or triplets, and also I didn't want to limit it just to one gender. I don't often draw men, but since I have my boyfriend at home who I occasionally like to draw, I thought I could start painting men by taking photos of him. I want to keep his face prominent in my work because lately I have been inspired by another artist who often uses her boyfriend as a subject for paintings. That idea intrigued me because I find my boyfriend very beautiful and I would love to paint him. I've already taken some photos and he's excited about it, even suggesting themes like wanting to be portrayed as a king or something like that. I just made that up, but I think it's a good idea. Plus, it's easier for me to have a clear reference from the photo, which helps avoid mistakes in the anatomy. I also started a family portrait of me, my boyfriend and my rabbit a few months ago, but I gave up on it because I couldn't get the rabbit right. But I want to return to it, maybe as a bigger painting, but not too large. I'd like to submit this to my finals too, and I've already started sketching a self-portrait, which I think would work as a bigger piece too. So even though my main theme would be twins or siblings, I think it's nice to include something more personal, like a self-portrait. In my last video, I promised to answer a few questions I received on Instagram, and the first question is, do you consider video games as a form of art? And my answer is definitely yes. I even work in an art related to video games myself, creating concept art for an RPG game with a group, and I can show you some of my work from that time here. So yes, video games are definitely art. Just look at games like League of Legends, for example. I really admire the character designs and the lore too. Many video games are beautifully created in terms of their artistic elements, so definitely yes. The next question is about the art school I attend and how satisfied I am with it. I talked about this in my last video, but to summarize, I'm extremely satisfied. I spent 8 years at a gymnasium or a grammar school, and now being at an art school is a total liberation. I'm at the Art and Design Institut private school. Today is Thursday and I tattooed a friend here earlier, then we stayed a bit, had some wine, and now a little after midnight I'm back to painting. I have to say that I have been feeling pretty good lately, and I don't want to jinx it, but sometimes it's nice to give yourself a credit, which I do not often do. This year I'm going to try applying to AVU and Umton again. Last year I've made it to the second round at Umton, but this year they are only accepting one person for the studio I applied to, so I'm definitely not counting on being that one person. I'm not even sure if it's worth applying, as you can only apply to one studio and Umton, or at least I think that's the rule. I might try a different studio where I might have a better chance. I also applied to AVU, though I'm not 100% sure yet which studio to choose. Last year I applied to the drawing studio and initially had a good chance because I went for a consultation with Petr Bog, the teacher, who led the studio at the time. He was really excited about my work and felt great about my chances. He even told me that if it were up to him, he would accept me right away. So I was thrilled to hear that, but then changed the teachers, so the admissions process was handled by other teachers with a completely different style, so I didn't get in. You apply to a studio based on the style of teachers or the students. Since my style was quite similar to the students in the drawing studio, a lot of people, including teachers, told me that I had the best chance there, but evidently they don't just pick based on that anymore. It also depends on the style of the teachers, which really frustrated me because it feels like a bad luck. Of course, I don't know if Petr Book would accepted me if he were still there, but I probably would have at least made it to the second round, and I didn't even make it that far at EVU. So I don't think I will apply to the same studio this year. I will try different painting studio as there are several to choose from at EVU. Last year I also applied to Wolf Studio, which is one of the painting studios, and I'm not sure if I will apply there again. Probably yes, because it's similar style. But I will also choose another painting studio, since at EVU you can apply to 2 studios, and we will see how it goes. If I don't get in this year, I will finish my bachelor's degree at the Art and Design Institut, the private school, and then try for a master's at the public school. Lately though, I've been thinking about whether I want to keep trying for Umton and AVU, because I'm really satisfied here at the Art and Design Institute. So at first I was pretty skeptical and worried that it would be all about who could pay the tuition and that they would accept anyone, but from what I've seen so far, there are some really amazing artists there, and in my opinion they are even on a higher level than some of the students accepted on Umton and AVU, which it's only my personal opinion, but I don't understand the people who get accepted to Umton and AVU sometimes, because last year when I applied to Umton, I saw the work of the applicants and I felt like the kind of realistic art that I do is no longer valued at this art school. They seem to prefer more abstract things now. Sometimes when I look at the final projects of students at these schools, I think to myself, I don't even want to be there. It seems kind of twisted what's happening at this art school lately. I don't mean that those people shouldn't be accepted, but I think they shouldn't accept only those kinds of people. I believe it would be good to have some diversity, to accept people with different styles, not just the same time over and over again. What I don't understand even more is that the style they focus on at these art schools isn't even liked by most regular people, the non-artists. As an artist, you sell your work to regular people who aren't that into art, but they see something they like and buy it, so I don't get why they accept people who might even not succeed in the real world, because most people don't like their work. Maybe it's a controversial opinion, but from what I've seen, it's not that really controversial. I don't know what to think about it. Mostly I just feel sad that they keep accepting the same kind of people. Maybe I don't understand art, maybe I don't know what's beautiful, but that's just my subjective opinion based on what I see from the final projects at these prestigious art school. So that was kind of a rant here. I also wanted to tell you a little about the background of the painting, not literally the background, but what the painting actually means. I can say that the meaning was my initial idea, but I came to it gradually through consultations with my teachers and during the painting process, because even though I have some preliminary sketches of the faces, when I actually paint them, they often take on slightly a different expression, giving the painting a different feel. So the painting is meant to symbolize that the woman in black and the one on the left is like an evil noble woman, and the woman on the right is like a peasant who has come to confront her. The painting is actually called Confrontation, and it's meant to evoke that idea. There is a chessboard in the painting, but there are no chess pieces, which also carries some significance. It's kind of interesting that they are sitting at the chessboard, but they don't have any pieces to play with. I also try to make the background reflect this dynamic by having the left side darker, while the right side has more flowers and tree that's growing over it. So that's the background as I see it, but I also like to leave it open for the viewer to interpret what they want. That's why I don't usually like to give my painting titles, but in this case I was really intrigued by the idea of what it could represent, or rather what I see in it. And now we have reached the end of my work on this painting. It took me 4 days, which is really fast for me. Honestly, I think it's one of my quickest paintings, especially at this size, so I'm really happy about that. And a lot of people seem to like it too. One of my TikTok videos went viral and most of the comments were saying how beautiful the first painting is. I showed more than one painting in that video, but I think this one is one of my better works. Even my painting teachers took pictures of it, which is a huge success for me. So I hope you liked it too. Let me know what you see in the painting without knowing what I see, and I will be looking forward to see you in the next video, which I think will come sooner than usual because I've already started a new painting. So have a nice day. I will see you in the next video.